Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Dynamic Coder. So as you can see on my screen that I have created a topology here, and in my last video if you want to learn something deep about the OSPF, then I have discussed everything about in the last video of mine, and also some terms which is about to discuss, so I would like to discuss in this video. So as you can see that the first term I want to use is DR. The DR is designated router. So what designated router does is that, for example, if you have a topology of 50 routers, so before OSPF establishes, what happened to it that every router used to send their advertisement to their neighboring route first, due to which the database becomes so much big and which is uncontrollable for the router, and it actually uses so much disk in the memory space, which is very difficult to handle if you have 50 100 or 50 100 150 routers in your network. So DR comes into picture. So what DR does is that in your entire topology it will create a single router as DR, a designated router, which will only initiate sending the advertisement to their neighbor or to form the neighborship. For example, whatever updates comes, the first updates is about to send by designated router. So this is the work of designated router. Now what is BDR? The BDR is just similar to DR, just the difference is that if, for example, if DR fails, so to avoid the convergence time, for example the time which is taken by new router to establish or to send update to form the neighborship, so which is called the convergence time. So the OS, to avoid that time, to avoid the delay, the BDR comes into picture. For example, if you can see, I have my router here, this router and this router. If I configure this router as DR and this is BDR, if this router fails in sending the LSAs to all over the topology, then this comes into play and this will start sending the updates to form the neighborship, and everything is worked just like how which is working when DR was into the picture. So this is all the works of DR and BDR. Now another concept is that single area and multi-area. So what single area and multi-area do is, like you can see my topology, I have configured area 1, 0, 2. So this is considered as multi-area. Like if you want to communicate, but there is one fact with it, that if you want to communicate the router 1, the area 1 with area 2, so under OSPF there is one terminology, which acts like, if you want to communicate the area 1 and area 2, there always should be the interference of area 0 in it. Without area 0, without backbone area, you can't be able to use, or you can't be able to communicate this PC1 with PC2, which is not possible. So using this area, multi-area, can only be possible to get communicated in, or this protocol works. So this is how the OSPF works. Now let's consider it, and let's start with configuring the OSPF. Okay, so I go to this router, configure terminal. Okay, router OSPF question mark. So you can see the process ID is 65535. You can take, I can take just one. Okay, and my network is 10.4.0.0.0.255.255, and my area is 0. Oh, sorry, my area is not 0, my area is 1. Okay, so here you can see the change area 0 to area 1. Now again I have to use the same thing here with my 3, 10.3.0.0, and same. You can see I have used wildcard mask, and we have to use wildcard mask here. Okay, so this is the configuration of OSPF. Enable configure terminal. router OSPF 1. Okay, my network is 10.2.0.0 255.255 area. So you can see here that this is comes under area 1. So you can see the 2 comes under area 0. So let's not get confused in it. It is just the simple concept. So this is under area 0, so I've configured just the same. Now you can see my 10.3 network. So the 10.3 is under area 1. So I have to configure it as area 1 and exit. Now we'll go to our backbone router. Enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. Network is 10.2.0. Which is under area 0. So we should have to write area as area 0. Okay. And the another thing is area. Sorry. The another network is 10.1. So both are under area 0. So we just take it as area 0. Now we have to configure the router ID here. You can see router ID. So what router ID is, I have to write here first and tell you that the first router will take the interface, that whatever interface you have you can configure, you can take it as a router ID, because by default in many situations there are the topologies where you do not have the loopback addresses. So it just take the interfaces IDs, means highest of the interfaces can configured as router ID itself is taken by OSPF. If router ID, if there is loopback, then the first priority is given to the loopback network to form the router ID. If not loopback, then interfaces. And the third part is to explicitly enter the router ID or to type the router ID. So if you want your router ID so that you can explicitly enter it according to according to your subnet or whatever you can. And the another advantage of using router ID is that, for example, if you have your router and which is considered in OSPF as a router ID, and for example a new router enter to your network, then your entire thing is just changed, just because if you have new router and if it is configured as highest subnet or the highest network, so it will take the new router as your OSPF router ID rather than what you have before. So another advantage of using router ID is that it is just remains the same till the time you are not going into your router and you configured the another router as a router ID. So these are the benefits of using the router ID. Now go to this. If I want to configure it as 10.10.10.10. So I've just configured this, but it is giving me one error to reload or to clear the OSPF process. So the OSPF process is actually what, that while you have configured the OSPF by default has the process ID, like the router ID configured by the OSPF processes. So if you want by default or if you want the explicitly you should have to type your own router ID, then you should have to clear the OSPF processes which was before configured by the OSPF. So what I'll do is that do clear IP OSPF process and I'll type yes. Okay, so you can see that the entire thing comes down and it comes up. Now again I'll configure my router ID as 10.10.10.10. Yeah, so this is the way it works. Okay, so I've configured here my router ID. Now again I'll go here and I'll configure same as the 10 network as router 0 under area 0 and the 30 192.168.30 network into area 2. Okay, so enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. The network is 10.1.0.0. Then the wildcard mask, which is under area 0. The same thing with area 2, but we have to change here. This is under, let me type 192.168.30.30.0 and 0.0.0.255, which is my wildcard mask, which is under area 2. Okay, yeah, correct. Then exit this router. Enable configure terminal router OSPF 1. Network is 192.168.30 192.168.30.0 0.0.0.255. My area is under 2. Same thing is with 20 and under area 2. This is the way it works. Now I'll go to this PC to check that whether I'll communicate PC1 to PC2. Command prompt, I'll ping 192.168.20.1. Yeah, so here you can see that it is the destination host is unreachable. So let me check. So here I have just checked my router that on this router 10.4 network is configured. I haven't configured 10.3 here. Router OSPF1. The network is 10.3.0.0, which is under area 1. Now let me check that whether this is able to ping 10.4 network, which is not working. Let's start with checking the commands, using the commands that whether what is configured or not. Show IP protocol. So this is the command which will tell you that what are the interfaces which you have configured. So under area 0 you will see 10.2, 10.1 both are configured. What are the neighbors of it? So you can see 30.1 is also a neighbor. The 10.2 using we can get to here. You can see the default gateway which is 110 on everywhere. We can change it, but by default I have configured it as 110. So here it is showing the correct information. Now go to this router and check show IP protocols. Here you can also see that 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.10, which is this. I have configured the router ID and the 30th network. Again, if I'll go here, if I'll check show IP protocols, you can see 10.3, 10.4, everything is configured under area 1. 110 is the default gateway. The administrative distance of it. Go to this router, show IP protocols. You can see 30.220 both are configured here under 110. Now let's check whether it is working or not. You can see it is not working still. The destination host is unreachable. So let me ping to 10.3. Yeah, it is working fine. Then if I'll go to 10.2, my 10.4 is replying that my ping is not sending. The packet is not sending out. Here what I am doing is I'm configuring from here again in OSPF under area 1 and this 10.2 network under area 0. Exit. Now let me ping. Actually what happened that I ping directly 192.168.20.1 from here, and I see that from this router I can able to ping from the last router 4.2. So there is just a mistake from this router that the sequence is not coming up. Okay, now let me check again. Yeah, so this is what creating the problem from here is what the end that it is not pinging. Now if we ping from this router, you can see that we can able to easily ping this router. Yeah, the problem what I found is that this router is not working, as I have already shown you that from this router I can able to ping from here till this 192.168.20 network. So the problem is just with this router, so I just have to disable all the ports and I no shut it and just start working properly. So again you will see ping 192.168.20.10. Yeah, you can see that we can able to ping 192.168.20.10. Now I'll show you some of the commands that how you can able to check is that show IP protocol, which I have already told you. Okay, so here you can see that there is 110, which is your administrative distance. 10.34 network area is just 1. So this is the way it works. Okay, now another command is show IP OSPF fusion. Yeah, you can see every information regarding this is that if I type neighbor, so I'll find the neighbor of this router, that which is the neighbor of this. If for example if I'll type the border router. Okay, so you can able to see that which is the border router from this router. Here it is showing the area is 1, SPF is 1. The SPF is the algorithm, shortest path first algorithm, which is used by OSPF. Okay, and you can see the intra router. The intra router is that connecting the inter as well as outside as well as inside. So you can see the 10.3 is considered as a ABR because it is connecting to area 0 as well as area 1. So for example, I have already tell you that the router which is able to connect it to area 0 and area 1, the area 0 is the backbone area. So these both are connected to each other. So this is considered as an ABR, area border router. Now you can check entire information with this. Even you can type the interfaces. Show IP OSPF interface. So you can check the entire interface is given here. Yeah, so just check it. Yeah, here what we'll see is that the 10.4 network, which is area 1, the type is the broadcast. The broadcast is the first the message which is sent to the neighboring routers. The cost is just 1. The delay time, the priority, the designated router DR. So from this router D, it is considered as an DR. Okay, no backup DR from this router means there could be a BDR but not from this router. Okay, the hello due, it is sending that in how many seconds the hello packet is sent. Okay, the process ID is just 1, the router ID, the entire thing is given here. Okay, the state is DR means this router from this interface is considered as an DR. Yeah, it is going to retransmit in every 5 seconds as what it is given. So on each of the router you can able to check like show IP OSPF interface. So here you can see that the state is BDR of this router and the little information is given here. The 10.10 is the router ID, that's what we have configured here. Okay, the hello timer, the dead timer, the wait, the retransmit packet. So these are the information which is all given on each of the routers. You can go and you can check the designated router, the BDR, backup designated router. Okay, so this is the information. You can see there are whole information. You can go on each and you can search regarding this. You will get to know everything. So that's all for today. So thanks guys, thanks for watching my video. If you find this, please go and subscribe my channel and don't forget to like as well. Okay, thank you, thanks so much.